Hello and welcome to More Than the Score. I'm Tony Moclair. Joining me every week as he does a walking football almanac, Mr. Troy Zantuck. Troy, we have a very, very special guest today. Number one, he's my wife's favourite ever player.
She's great to see you, Tone, and we have a magnificent, one of the absolute best of all time, and here he is to tell you about it.
That's why I'm grinning like an idiot. We welcome to the program a man who played 250 games, was the Norm Smith medalist when he played in the forward line for the 1995 victorious Carlton Premiership team. He's won 2 Brownlow medals, 6 All-Australians. As he says, it's quicker to list the awards he hasn't got. Diesel, Greg Williams, welcome to More Than the Score.
Hello, Tony. How are you, Troy? Good to be on.
Well, it's great to have you. You're our first ever guest, and I like to think we are setting the bar extremely high. My first question to you, Greg, is I looked at your highlights clip on YouTube, and it went for 2 minutes. In your estimation, how long should that clip go for?
Yeah, well, on YouTube, always pretty quick. But no, look, I had highlights, and it was a great fun to play for Carlton and Geelong and Sydney. And, you know, football was my life and I loved playing it. And, I was lucky enough to win won a premiership at Carlton, of course, and a few best and fairest and things. And it was great fun.
Great to have you on, Diesel, and great to see you again, mate. I'm just going to take you back in the time machine a bit. You're the third of 8 children. You grew up in Bendigo from age 10. And you played with Golden Square in the Bendigo League. You won the 2 BNFs in the league there. But it wasn't a really, coming through the ranks, hitting the big time, it wasn't really easy for you, mate, was it? You got 2 big knockbacks. Tell us about those.
Yeah, you're right. I grew up in Bendigo, which was Carlton's own in those days. And I got asked down a couple of times to do pre-season with Carlton in the early 80s. 82 and 83, yep. And I got knocked back the first year. And remembering the Carlton were a premiership team then, they had a mosquito fleet in those days. And I was a slow centreman, but it took me a couple of pre-seasons to get fit enough. I know David Parkin was coach back then as well, and he gave me the arse twice, which really, big outs it really was. But I was lucky enough, I didn't give up, and I did go back to Bendigo, play with Golden Square, and won a couple of the league best and fairest. So I was a pretty serious player then, Troy, as well, but I just couldn't get into a club at that stage. So after that, second year knockback, I wrote a letter to Tom Hafey and asked if I could come down and do pre-season in 1983 at Geelong, and Hafey said come down. So I did that, and that's how I ended up at Geelong.
And Diesel, an incredible debut at Geelong, round 1, 38 disposals and 3 Brownlow votes. What was it like on the drive home that night for you, mate? What were the thoughts going through your mind? Your first game of league football, 38 possessions.
Gary Ablett in the team as well.
Yeah, Gary Senior was first game as well. Yeah, he kicked 4, I think, the first day. But I was thinking it was pretty easy. Wasn't that hard.
I thought you would have been a little bit disappointed, mate, because I know that your benchmark when you went out was 40 possessions. So, you just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, I was a bit flat. I had 20 and a half time, and I thought I was on track. Yeah, no, it was it was great. It was really a highlight of my life, really, first game. And Hafey gave me a chance in the centre, and it was just great to be there and to play for Geelong. I love being down there. And, yeah, I really got off to a great start and pretty much stayed there for 250 games, really. And I ended up, unfortunately, round 12, I did my knee at Footscray, so I actually missed the rest of the season, unfortunately. But I did win the best first-year player in the AFL, or VFL then. And I went on the World of Sport, and I won the handball competition as well.
Well, there's a surprise.
Yeah, wow.
That was a surprise, but I was given this prize for the best first year. It was a recliner rocker. It was a brown marine chair, and I'm thinking this is the worst present I've ever had. And I've still got it. I still sit in it every day. So,
Oh, well,
probably
there
the best
you go.
I've ever had, really. So,
Well, it wasn't a Polaco
pretty
shirt
cool.
or a Hutton's ham. Diesel, I'm keen to know you just missed out on speaking of Brownlow, your third Brownlow, and you just missed out. Well, not just missed. We fell short by 44 points in '93. Which hurts more, just missing a Brownlow or not getting that premiership in '93?
Oh, 93 is a nightmare for me
Yeah.
and the club. Yeah, no, 93 was the worst. We got pretty much hammered by the Baby Bombers then, and they deserved it. They played great games. So, but yeah, no, it was devastating. Yeah, I don't recommend losing them. And even at Carlton, then we're jumping ahead a bit. But the '94, well, I lost the Brownlow in '93, and I also by a vote, and I lost the grand final, so that wasn't good. But '94, we bounced back. We ended up on top of the ladder. Unfortunately, we got knocked out in the straight sets, which is not good either. And then I won the Brownlow in '94, my second Brownlow, and had 30 votes when I was 32 years old, I think. So I bounced back. I've got a bit of a reputation of bouncing back when I get knocked down, and that's a pretty, determination and never give up. That was a pretty big deal for me, and that was a huge highlight, the '94 Brownlow as well.
Can I just ask? Sorry, Troy, but on that, because it's definitely a theme. It's definitely a theme in your life, Diesel. You're one of 8. I'm also one of 8. As it happens, I'd love to know where you are in the birth order.
Yeah, I'm third.
You're third, okay.
Yeah, but I'm also the golden child, though.
Okay. Well, is that where it comes from? Because we're talking about a player who is not fast enough. Coaches kept saying not fast enough or not big enough.
Yeah.
You're kicked out of, well, you're not kicked out, but you're not selected by Carlton, and then you go to Sydney, and then you're back and forth, and but you just keep getting back up there. Where did that drive come from?
Yeah, well, obviously the family, and I had a great upbringing. Great parents are still going, and I had a bigger brother, John, who was 12 months older than me, a bit 14 months older, and he was my protector. I played with him a lot at Golden Square and school, and I'll give you an indication. I went to Kangaroo Flat Tech, which is a great school. Pretty rough area in those days, Kangaroo Flat, but John was in year 8 and I was in year 7, my first week at school, and John said to me, come down to the Oval, I'm fighting the guy at lunchtime. Guys, John's only, 13 or something? 13 or so, and he's fighting the best fighter in the school in year 12. So I went down to me and him and a couple of mates, and the whole school's on the other side of the ground with the best fighter in the school. Anyway, John's shaped up to this guy, and he's knocked this bloke out. And so John was the best fighter in the school and the toughest guy at the school when he was in year 8. And that's what I had to put up with my whole childhood, trying to beat him. And I think that's where I got it from, him.
Greg, I just wanted to take you back, mate, to your time at Geelong. Obviously, Tommy Hafey, much loved. In '85, you had a big year that year. You played every game. You won the BNF and the VFL MVP. It must have been just a massive confidence boost for you to say, I've really arrived at this level.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. I did my knee. I had my knee in brace for 12 weeks or so. Like I said, in the first year, around 12. I did pre-season. I bounced back again, and like I said, I won the best and fairest in '85, and I had over 600 possessions back then. Like that was it was huge, a huge year, record. And handball-wise, I had more handballs than anyone's ever had, and I really did have one of my best seasons. I did.
So how did that all happen, Greg, that you actually went to Sydney the following year? What actually transpired? What happened to Geelong?
Yeah, Edelston was the problem. Hafey was going as coach, and then they asked me to go, and they offered me 4 times more than I was getting at Geelong. 4 times? Yeah, it was huge money. And, yeah, it was pretty much, I went for the money. There's no doubt about it. But Geelong wouldn't come to the party, even, you know, a reasonable figure. You know, they wouldn't come to the party. And then, I just said, fuck it, I'm going for the money. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was,
that.
no, but it was that cut and dry.
Yeah, no, it was just, it was just too good to leave out. And it was a big move because, you know, from Bendigo, I didn't really like to go to Melbourne when I went there to train. I was a country guy sort of thing, country kid really, but going to Sydney was like going to New York, you know, like Jesus.
Yeah.
It was hard. And, but we got married in 85 at Geelong and the whole team there. And then I left.
To the lovely Mary?
Yeah, to Mary, but I left.
Yeah.
It was a pretty difficult wedding because all the teammates were there, but then I was going to Sydney, which was a bit awkward.
Who did Alex Marcoux bring to your wedding, Diesel?
No, Alex wasn't there, unfortunately.
Right, just as well.
No.
He would have been the best dressed bloke there, Alex, the Opal man.
No.
Hey?
Yes.
Can I ask, Diesel? You tried out at Carlton, as you said. Bendigo was a Carlton area. Then you're at Geelong, then Sydney. For various reasons, though, you fell over, or, you know, it didn't work out at those clubs. And I've seen you interviewed about Sydney, and you just said you finished bottom of the ladder. It was just a bad place to be. And then Colo made an offer, I think it was. Was the plan or the hope in your mind always like a salmon swimming upstream? Was it always to end up at Carlton?
I always dreamed about it, but Sydney was great as well for the first 3 or 4 years. It was 3 years. We finished on top a couple of times.
You won a Brownlow medal, Greg, in your first year.
That's right. I did win the Brownlow in the first 86.
So it got off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did. I love the SCG as well, and I really enjoyed playing there. And, you know, we had a good team there too, Healy and Mitchell, and we had some pretty good team. But we just Warwick Kappa, of course. Yeah. And we had a lot of fun up there. It was a pretty cool place to play footy. And unfortunately, they just dropped away, and the VFL just dropped away from the Swans as well. They really just left us and weren't helping at all, recruiting or anything like that. And it just, died a sad death, really. And we ended up finishing last, well and truly. And I ended up, the chance to come back, and I decided to come back to Melbourne.
How did you feel that, as you said, the VFL just kind of left you up there, and then at the same time, Diesel tried to stop you from going to Carlton?
Yeah, that's right. They weren't happy with me leaving, and they suspended me for 6 weeks, fined me $25,000 for.
Wow.
For some contract. I had 2 contracts or something, like everyone else had 2 contracts at that stage. But Carlton offered me a huge amount of money as well. I'm not trying to be smart about it, but it was too good to refuse again and go home. So I decided to go home, and it was pretty cool to Carlton pay as well.
Was St Kilda interested at one stage, Greg?
Yeah, the Saints were in there. They were. Yeah, they really were, but it just worked out for me that Carlton, and we did a deal. Colo did a deal, swapped Minton Connell and a couple of guys for me, so it worked out.
Darren Kapler went to Sydney from Fitzroy. Simon Minton Connell, Carlton to Sydney, and Peter Sartori and Ashley Matthews went from Carlton to Fitzroy. So it was a pretty complicated deal, Diesel.
Yeah, it was. I think Colo did a good job, and it worked out for the best. And I think it was just great to get back to Melbourne, and Carlton was.
93 and 94, Tony brought those up before. They were amazing years for you. You mentioned just before you had 600 possessions. You had 600 possessions in both of those years. You played 23 games in 1993, 664 disposals. 1994, 22 games for 642 disposals. And in round 22 and 94, Diesel, against West Coast, 45 possessions in round 22.
Yeah, I had a bad habit of getting the ball all the time, Troy.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know I'm pumping up your tyres like the Michelin man here, but these are fair income stats, Diesel. And as you said, mate, 30 votes in the Brownlow, absolutely an incredible amount of votes, 30 votes, and becoming a dual Brownlow medalist. And you actually won the Carlton BNF in '94. So of all your wonderful years, was that your best year overall?
I think it's hard to say because, like, I did have a very consistent career.
Yeah.
You know, and they were, I think, like, even to talk about '85, I had a great season at Geelong and obviously won Brownlows and that at Swans as well. So it's very difficult, but in saying that, obviously '95 as well, which wasn't my best year by far, but it was the best year. So
well, a premiership medallion, Diesel, the ultimate, but on a personal level, the 31 disposals and 5 goals, and the Norm Smith dangling around your neck. That wasn't a bad year either.
That's right, yeah, my birthday, that's right. Yeah, no, that was a cool day. It really was for me and Carlton and obviously the blokes I played with and still catch up with. So 95 was just a dream come true to be at the G that day and to be able to play. And I moved forward, which I hadn't done a lot of. And it wasn't that hard up there either.
And the scoreline shows it. Stick around. That's the end of part 1 of our chat here on More Than the Score with Troy Zantuck and myself, Tony Moclair, and our chat with Greg Diesel Williams. Back with part 2 in a moment.